Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Trespect India, I would like to welcome you to this webinar today on the changing trends in home buying during the COVID-19 times. Uh, uh, Trespect stands for Trespect is a culmination of two words, trust plus respect, and that forms the reason for the existence of Trespect. Our objective is to ensure we win the trust of customers in whatever we do, and hence generate respect for the real estate industry. To take us through this webinar today, we have with us two eclectic speakers. The first speaker is Mr. Sunil Mishra, who is the Managing Director and CEO of Trespect India. Mr. Sunil currently leads the build-up for Trespect, which is a tech-enabled pan-India real estate advisory business, enabling home buyers to make the right choice. Mr. Mishra has over 2.5 decades of cross-industry, cross-functional, cross-geography experience. He's worked for organizations like PropTiger Housing Group, Carvey Private Wealth, Airtel, KPMG, WorldTel in the past in his earlier assignment, just to give you a flavor of the experience which he has. The second speaker we have is Mr. Amit Sinha. He is the Chief Operating Officer of Trespect. At Trespect, he plays a varied role right from managing sales, partner relations, risk management, business operations, financial planning, and analysis. Mr. Sinha also has over 2 decades of experience in building and leading sales and distribution businesses. His past assignments include PropTiger, SBI Cards, ICICI, NIIT, MyIris. So again, a wide experience across industries. So that was about the two speakers we have. Just a hygiene point. While many of us participants have sent out the questions they may have for the speakers, in case during the presentation you may have any more questions, feel free to WhatsApp them to me. I will just share my number. It is 99676 44928. So I will just repeat that. It's 99676 44928. So you could send me the questions on WhatsApp, so that at the end of the webinar, I can also pass on your questions to the speakers. The number is also appeared on your group chat, so you could refer it there. With this, I would like to invite Mr. Sunil and Mr. Amit Sinha to please take us through the webinar.
Great. Thanks, Varun. This is Sunil Mishra here. I'll start off. Thanks for the introduction, and you had promised to keep it short, but you still spent some time on that. Thanks for that. What I'll do, guys, so first of all, thanks for the time spent on a Wednesday morning and on a Tuesday morning, and for coming to the webinar, guys. We will try to keep it short, crisp, and meaningful and relevant. There's again bad news and good news. The bad news is that there is a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, so you can't escape that even if you come to a sort of a more informal webinar like this. The good news is there are 10 crisp slides. Amit and I will share about 4 to 5 each. We will have Rajul and Saurabh, who are the city business heads for Mumbai and Pune, add up wherever required. If there are questions coming in, it will be a panel of 4 of us who will try to answer questions along with Varun. So without much ado, let me share my screen. It's a new thing I've learned, and I love doing this on Zoom. So here we go. Hi, can you guys see a slide with 2 sort of mugshots there?
Yes, Sunil.
Excellent, great. Welcome again, guys. We are talking about changing trends in home buying during COVID-19 and beyond. So 3 words: changing trends, as in what has changed now and what may change in the future in home buying. So we will sort of focus on home buying. We are happy to answer questions on investment into other types of real estate as well. And third part is during COVID times, which is started from the lockdown from March 24th and may sort of spill over to some time, which Amit and I'll talk about. As I said, let's sort of start off. How to move the slide. I'm just stopping sharing and coming back again, guys. This so much for technology, isn't it?
Yes.
Not to start in the digital display, in the full display mode, guys. So there are 4 sections. As we promised, it will be short and crisp. We'll talk about some historical perspective, what had happened in the last 10, 12, 15 years, some disruptive events that tested Indian real estate, just to be able to understand and take a good perspective. Because the current is always very, very pessimistic and your face is very close to the paper. So sometimes you have to take a few steps back and look at the overall history as to what has happened in the past. That's the first piece. We'll talk about should we stay on rent or buy a house. This is sort of an interesting debate at different points of time, and we will tackle that head on. I'll take the first 2 topics, then hand over to Amit, who will talk about how the ways of purchasing real estate has evolved, especially in the COVID-19 times, and what will happen beyond. What are we doing to facilitate this home purchase process? And then he will also talk about the future trends in real estate, where I'll join in to talk about the prices in the future and to close the session, post which we'll open it for Q&A. So just four topics, 1 or 2 slides each. So don't worry about too much. But before we jump into that, a quick introduction to the team behind this. That's me and Amit on the left side. Rajul leads the city business for Mumbai, and Saurabh leads the city business for Pune. Varun is the central head of marketing, who has sort of helped us put this together, and he's the director behind this show. We are just moving on to the disruptive events, and there is just 1 slide. We have seen 3 disruptive events. We were pushing ourselves to sort of try to focus what are the 2-3 big things that have happened in the past 10 to 15 years. And we could figure out that 2008 global financial crisis was one of the biggest event. It was almost a black swan event. We learned the word black swan, which is something which comes once in a lifetime. And we have learned now not to use the word black swan too much, because it comes back again very soon. So we have to be careful with gaining the perspective. In 2008 global financial crisis, which was actually a subprime crisis starting from real estate, if you guys remember, and the contagion spreading onto Wall Street. The crisis had led to increase in cost of funding. The rate at which developers are able to raise funds increased. Speculators almost voted with their feet and vanished. You remember, people are flipping apartments every 6 months as the prices were increasing. In fact, 2002 to 2008, prices had tripled, which is a 200% increase over 4-5 years. It's almost a 30% CAGR, never before seen in any asset class in India. There was a shift in developers from luxury segment post 2008 till 2008. The whole of Worli, Lower Parel had been rechristened Upper Worli, and luxury market was rampant in Mumbai as well as in parts of Gurgaon. So that was the global financial crisis. The second one was quite recent, November 8, 2016, when the Mitron thing happened for the first time. And that night, half our cash, or 86% of our cash had become irrelevant. Real estate got impacted in a big way. This was supposed to be a surgical strike against black money. Part of real estate, which was largely doing with resale transactions and land transactions, had cash around possibly at that time. The new home selling had sort of got cleaned up already in the last 5-10 years, as the bigger developers had voluntarily started taking checks, and especially people in Bombay and Pune would validate that. Large developers with better corporate governance started emerging as winners, which almost started giving a semblance of an industry. Before 2016, we were not really an industry. So bigger players started concentrating. Sales got affected in 2017, partly because of demonetization, partly because of RERA, when developers started cleaning up their supply, and hence the supply fell, which led to sales falling. And there are attractive deals for about 2 to 3 months, and people use that deal. Third one was immediately after November 2016, which was May to July 2017, which was when RERA was formed. And this, to my mind, is the single biggest sort of event in post-independence history of India that real estate has gone through. RERA basically made home buying more transparent. It became WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. Journalism in real estate increased. Developers started getting penalized for the first time for not meeting their promises of quality and time. So there was basically almost an official body which was watching for the interests of small home buyers. And this is exactly what had happened in insurance when IRDA had come in telecom, when TRAI had come in stock market broking when SEBI had come in. So there is no sort of rocket science in RERA, but it's a regulator which has come in. The industry has become regulated. So after demonetization, RERA and GST coming in, we have become an industry for the first time. We have become a sector for the first time. More and more developers will start getting listed. More and more corporate developers will keep on coming into real estate. And there will be a consolidation and shakeout. Two words which is sort of loosely used. Shakeout is when smaller players sort of just vanish and bigger players get market share. And consolidation is when bigger players acquire smaller players. So both of these is happening. Both of these will keep on happening for the next 3 to 5 years till we become a rock solid industry. That's what has happened in the last 2, 3, 4 years. So these are the sort of historical context, the events that happened. None of our presentations is complete without showing you some numbers and charts, which makes us look intellectual. But on a serious note, it gives you a perspective of life. These are the number of homes purchased by people in India in the top 7 to 8 cities over the last 7 years. So you see a cluster of 2013, 14, 15, when about 3.25 lakh homes on an average were being sold or being purchased by home buyers. And in the last 4 years, the average has fallen to about 2.5 lakhs. And this is after demonetization happened, RERA happened, GST happened in 2016, when the speculator investor community sort of walked out. So the first point which I want you guys to take away from this is that an average of about 2.5 lakh homes, 2.5 lakh घर अभी भी बिक रहे हैं पिछले 4 साल में year on year. So people keep on saying, oh, real estate is sort of really suffering in the last 3, 4, 5 years. That's not really true. There is a 2.5 lakh homes being sold year on year for the last 4 years. About 75,000 to 1 lakh people who were there in the earlier phase, these were speculators and investors. They have gone from the market. So it is a fact that investors have gone from the market, and all demand is need-based demand from end users now. So in the last 4 years, we are pretty good. Thank you, other industry guys, for sympathizing and commiserating with us. We are doing good. There is a demand for need for a home, and we are selling homes in the last 4 years. Home is the basic shelter requirement, and number of homes sold even in testing times will be 2 to 2.5 lakhs. Given the migrant population, and when I say migrant, I mean it in a very positive way, because 5 million people come into top 10 cities every year. Within the city, people move from Parel and Lower Parel to Thane in quest for a bigger home. So there's an intercity migrant and intra-city migration. These two migrations will keep the demand for homes going on. So that's the perspective of what's happening. My last slide here before I hand over to Amit to talk about what is happening today and what is the way of change is a quick slide on buying and renting. This is a busy slide. Don't get worried with too many words here. The left side is the positives of buying. The right side is the positives of renting. Positives of buying are sort of apparent that ownership provides security of owning an asset. The buying offers return in form of price appreciation and capital appreciation. I remember I told you 2002 to 2008 there was a 200% price appreciation. जब घर के दाम तीन गुना हो गए थे. In renting, there is no monetary returns from renting. In fact, money is lost actually by payment of rent. There is, if you have your own home, there is no restrictions. है ना? आपको किल्ला दीवार में डालने पे कोई नहीं रोकेगा. The permanent residence is free from constraint of changing your home every 11 to 22 months, a lease agreement. There is freedom to renovate or decorate the house, as I mentioned. And there are tax benefits on housing loan under Section 24, 80C and 80EE of Income Tax Act. The renting also has some positives for some segments of people. There's flexibility to stay in different homes every year. तो काफी लोग मजा आता है कि हर साल घर change करेंगे, view change करेंगे. So for that particular 5% segment, renting might be a good sort of option. In years when there's little capital appreciation, so 2016 to 2020, we keep on saying that prices of homes have not increased too much. And hence, very young people who have joined the workforce in 2010 onwards, they feel that last 4 years is what is going to happen for the next 40 years or has happened in the next last 25 years. That's not true. Last 4 years has been a bit unique where home prices have not really increased too much. And in those 4 years, if you thought that you would pay rent of 2 to 3% and invest in equity markets and get 12 to 15%, and the arbitrage between these two, which is at 9 to 10%, you'll enjoy. Well, I'm sorry, you are mistaken, because today the Sensex is at the same level as it was in January 2015. So guys, it takes more than just an arbitrage to play different equity markets or different asset class markets. It requires luck a bit. It requires a long-term perspective, and it requires asset allocation, as we'll talk about as if the discussion comes up during the day. Some people finally have a temporary outlook for staying. People have come here on deputation, have come here for a year's job, so they will stay on rent. So the conclusion is that home is what gives you shelter in the most testing times. Stay from home, work from home. Wonderful phrases, guys, which have become sort of a way of living for us in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And the only thing common in these phrases is the word home. So home is what gives you shelter. And the point about equity markets, I mentioned that if you had really invested in equity markets 4 or 5 years back and were happy that, hey, good, I did not buy a home, I'm staying on rent. I'm sorry, dude, you neither have home today. Your equity markets, your equity investments are back to where it were. And hey, you have to pay rent for the next X number of years as well, unless you buy a home. So that's a quick perspective, guys. I thought I'll move a bit fast for Amit to spend more time on the evolution of home buying purchase in real estate. And with that, I'll request Amit to take over. I'll be handling the slides. Amit, please, welcome.
Thank you, Sunil. And once again, I will extend a very warm welcome to all the participants who have taken time out, spare the time to come on this webinar. And as Sunil has promised, I'll also try to keep it very, very quick so that we can engage more on question and answer session. But before, I go to this interesting subject of purchase of real estate, I just want us to spare some time and go back down the memory lane to figure out that how have we behaved in the last 20 years. And let's look at some of the profound changes that have come, with time. 20 years ago, many of us were around at that time. And just imagine, how did we used to buy and sell stocks, So, while we do it at the click of a button on our smartphone, many of us have access to terminals, terminals of NSE or BSE. But 20 years ago, guys, you will remember and realize, many of us, that we used to keep aside margin money with a stockbroker. And we would advise that stockbroker to do transactions on our behalf. Gone are those days. Now we are doing it at the click of a button. ICICI Securities, 5paisa.com, Indiainfoline.com. These were still trying to grapple up, and they were trying to change this big change in the behavior of all the consumers at that time. 15 years ago, I used to work for a credit card company, and believe me, I was so scared to give my credit card numbers online and to make any kind of payments online. And I'm sure that many of us would also dread to give credit card numbers online. But just imagine today, most of our credit card numbers are already stored on all the payment gateways, and all we need to put up is just a 3-digit CVV number, and the transaction go through, and that's the ease which has come with time, and we have got used to it. So just in pure 15 years, big change, dramatic change in the way we have been making transactions through credit cards online. 10 years ago, who would have thought that we don't have to queue up in front of trial rooms at Shoppers Stop or any of such stores and wait for spring or summer sale to purchase clothes? Guys, I think, Myntra, Jabong, Flipkart, Amazon, they have completely transformed the way we purchase clothes online. 10 years ago, if I would have told my mom that I want to buy some stuff for her, she would give a kick on my back, but not right now. I'm sure that she must be buying herself, and we know that most of our smartphones are used to engage with such platforms online. And so guys, the point which I'm trying to drive is that today this is the norm and a way of life. And this is how things change. And we believe that this disruption which we are seeing around us will also make the entire process of home buying move from the physical world to the digital world, especially for a launch or under construction project, wherein a customer can gain all the important and critical information and insight from his laptop on the virtual space without even taking the hassle to go down and visit the site physically. And this is going to be a big change which is going to come on the real estate NRI sales, as it is used to happen like this till now. And we believe that this trend is going to now get even more sharper with time, and we'll see how this would how this would move on from here. Some very important statistics. All of us are in lockdown, and as we see that what we saw that the amount of time which all of us are spending on internet, and most importantly on smartphones, it has increased exponentially. Just by the end of week 2, weekly time spent on smartphones have gone up by 3 hours, and that's huge. 3 hours in a week is huge by the end of week 2, and by end of week 4 or week 5, this may even go further. So we'll see further surge, in this data. Most importantly, this is also instilling a sense of behavioral change within the customers. So when everything is restored to normalcy, we must understand that this will not go back to the pre-COVID time. This will bring in a great change in the way consumers' mindset would have shifted by the end of this entire lockdown period. Some platforms, as we know, chat, social networking, news apps, gaming, video on demand, audio streaming have seen amazing surge in this last 3-4 weeks. Interestingly, many of us probably may not even have been aware of this platform called Zoom till 22nd of March. Now all of us are using it so well, and life for us is normal. So what have we done? So what have we done at Respect to make sure that for us it's business as usual? So while obviously for the first couple of days, we, along with everyone else, we're also kind of we're grappling with this entire lockdown period and trying to figure out what do we do in that case. But however, we also understood that there is a big segment of customers, especially in the launch and under construction stage, which probably may not need to go back to the site to do the transaction. And we already had the strong learning of selling to our NRI customers, and that's how we re-engineered our entire sales process, and we launched an integrated digital home buying solution, which I'll just share with you very, very quickly. And this has given us very interesting results. So some important elements of this entire sales process: our sales RMs continue to engage with the customer. And as Varun suggested in the beginning of this call, Respect stands for trust and respect. So for us, our most important stakeholder is our customer. And we really don't sell anything to him. We understand his requirement, and then we propose him the best product which is available. So the sales RM goes through the KYC process. KYC is Know Your Customer, in which we do the complete need analysis of that customer, in which we decipher what does he want, why does he want, does he have the required wherewithal to fund the transaction, and would he really need a transaction or not? So there are many times when we come back and advise our customers that you don't need to purchase, So that is also some steps that we take. After this, we take the customer, engage the customer on a video call. Advantage for us during this lockdown is that since the customer is already staying along with his family, we also encourage the family members to come on the call. And guys, I'm happy to share that all the products that we sell, we have already created a complete 360-degree virtual suite of all the products that we sell. So after the video call, which we initiate with the customer, we engage and we take that customer through the entire site visit, entire virtual tour of that product, in which he just need not go out of his home and visit that site. Everything is available at the click of this button. After this, we go on to the discussions around inventory, pricing, resolve any query which we have. And finally, informs the customer about all the critical elements of his transaction and help customer take the right choice of purchasing a property. Anuj Puri had done a press release a couple of days ago in which we had shared that we have already sold close to 300 odd homes as we speak in this lockdown. And thankfully, because of the way we have been able to quickly transition from the physical world to the virtual world, has really helped us to reap rich dividends. So our entire home buying journey from inquiry to booking is now being done digitally. And that's, I think, has been the big takeaway of the big profound change with this COVID lockdown period has for all of us.
Amit, if I may add just one other virtual site visit. So the whole concept of site visit has become virtual now, and that's a virtual site visit which Amit was talking about, where you can go through all the drone video of the locality to the 3D walkthrough to the project sort of thing to the 3D floor plan, and hence the whole thing can be done virtually, and hence this whole process becomes digital.
So what do we think? How do you think the future trends of this entire industry is going to be? As it is, we have been seeing that, especially in the last six, seven years or so, branded developers, big developers, thankfully because of the corporate governance and adherence to quality and time, they had become the chosen one. So all the marquee developers that we have seen, which have risen, which has really done well in the last 6-7 years, is thankfully to their corporate governance and their interest of keeping customer interest ahead of everything. We have seen the market share growing from 41% in 2015 to almost 53% in 2019. Now going forward, reason why these developers will continue to engage and do better is also because they are the smart developers who have also invested a lot of their investments in creating digital and tech suite for the product. Beside creating a consumer-led proposition, we expect that the market share is going to go up to almost 60-65% by end of FY21. There will be a shakeout, as Sunil has suggested, in this market. All of us are aware of this. This was already a stressed market, and I think we will see that a lot of consolidation will happen amongst all the developers. Hence, for an end user, for a consumer like you and me, it is very, very important to purchase or make transactions with large branded developers. There's no point getting into transaction with a smaller CATC or CATD developer, because the developer may not exist after after going through this stressful period. Very important subject. Sunil has discussed this in a bit, but we have seen through our research from all the conversations which we've had with our consumers, and irrespective of lockdown or COVID, but more so during this period, millennials will see a huge interest in purchasing a physical asset. I think the drubbing which the stock market has received in the last 3 months has also awakened a lot of people about the fact that anything which is not physical is only virtual. So people have lost 50%, 60% of the stock value. At least real estate, we have seen that it can never crash to that level. And fortunately, work from home, stay at home, all these adage also instills a lot of importance to the word home. And what we see is that millennials will see a lot of increased interest in purchasing physical real estate instead of staying on rent. So there will be a dramatic shift in the way this entire process of real estate medium will move, and large part of this process is going to move digitally. And I think we will only ape or go on the same curve as it is seen in US or Europe, where the launches and under construction projects will be sold more and more digitally. A quick 1 minute on two important markets for which we have conducted this webinar. Pune is one of the most critical and important real estate markets. It's one of the top 5 markets, and Pune, we know, is a very youthful city thanks to large population of students and large workforce in IT and IT-enabled services. But Pune also is a big automobile and manufacturing hub. And Pune has seen unprecedented growth over the last decade, across all these important industries. Pune, along with Bangalore and Hyderabad, it has catapulted into one of the top cities of India. And if I talk in terms of GDP, it's the GDP of Pune and Bombay per se would be more than many of the third world countries. Real estate market in Pune, is upcoming, and it is one of the strongest across the country. The city boasts of robust physical, social infrastructure, and many new projects like metro and all is only going to give further fillip to and boost to this sector as such. What we have seen, this the city has shown amazing tenacity, and has rebounded from all the crises that we have seen in the past, especially demonetization, RERA, and GST, and continues to exhibit very strong growth. I'm happy to share with you that even during this lockdown, when the entire city has come under containment zone, our sale in Pune has seen sharp spike, especially for people who have been out there in the market. So this city has very serious buyers who knows exactly what they want to buy, and they have done their homework, and they're using this period of crisis to get the best deals to do transactions. Top 5 micro markets of Pune also is a reflection of the commercial establishments around these markets and strong presence of IT and IT-enabled services. Mahalunge, Hinjewadi, Tathavade, Kharadi Extension, and Wakad will continue to hold the imagination of people who would be purchasing doing transactions in Pune. Moving on to Mumbai or Mumbai MMR, we have seen that entire MMR has seen structural changes in the last couple of years. So Mumbai is no longer Mumbai. Mumbai has now become Mumbai MMR. So we saw that peripheral central suburbs, Thane and beyond, they have outperformed all other markets in MMR, because of the new launches and the sales volume. And we also know with the kind of investments which is going to come from the entire Thane to Dombivli belt, especially in the price range, which has become very, very attractive compared to other products in Bombay, other projects in Bombay, especially given the affordability and the township projects launched by branded developers across these markets will continue to hold on, and they will show a lot of resilience even post-COVID 2019 period as well. Some of us may also have, have taken note of the press release which Anuj had done a couple of days ago, which also embarked upon the same point that a lot of transactions which Anarock Group has done has happened in peripheral central suburb. So this continues to brave all the odds, and this is going to brave all the structural challenges that we are seeing during the COVID-19 period as well. And no points for guessing, Dombivli, Panvel, Badlapur, Kolshed, Kalyan, Bhiwandi will continue to exhibit strong growth because of the strong demand which this entire belt has, and also the strong presence of branded and good developers which are going to come with plenty of good affordable products which may come up in these markets. So with this, I will hand it over to Sunil, and I will come back again in the end to answer any query which you may have.
Great. Thanks, Amit. So Mumbai and Pune used to contribute about, just sort of closing addition of my comment on that is that in 2017, Mumbai plus Pune used to be about 39 to 41% of top 10 cities sales. And from 2018-19, it has gone from 41% to 52%. So half of the sales of top 10 cities comes from Mumbai and Pune. So that's the sort of significance of this. I'm loving this doodling things going on the slide. I don't know what's happening, but it's good fun to keep on learning new stuff. Quickly, last couple of slides, guys. Outlook on prices. This is a question which everyone asks. And we've got a few in-house comments on this. So prices, of course, have increased by about 2 to 3% annually for the last 4 or 5 years. Remember, inflation has been about 5.5 to 6% per annum over the last 5 years. So about a 2.5 minus 6 is about minus 4% every year for 5 years is 20% over 5 years. So prices actually, the after inflation has fallen by 20% in the last 5 years. That's one point that everyone has to remember. Branded developers are expected to control around 60% of sales, as Amit had mentioned. And salaried consumers form 85% of the home buyers currently from whatever Trispet has been selling, and I'm sure that's symptomatic of the entire market as well. The salaried buyers have preference for bigger developers. Given the deep pockets that bigger and branded developers have, who are going to control more and more the market, there is very little chance that they are going to reduce prices because they have holding capacity. The guys who don't have holding capacity are the smaller guys who have some part of the unsold inventory. There might be some tactical cowboyish sort of purchases that one can do here and there. But I use the word cowboyish because if it is under construction, then it is again sort of laden with the risk of not getting completed, especially now since COVID is going to impact construction a bit. So be careful of what you're buying. Sort of align yourselves with bigger, larger developers. Don't worry about sort of price falling. Price has not fallen after demonetization as well. Price has not fallen in the last 4 or 5 years. Price has actually fallen by 20% anyways after inflation has been taken off. But get your deal. If you're getting a small deal here and there, if you're getting a parking free, if you're getting a sort of a small freebie thrown in, try to get that. But don't wait for some macro trend to happen and prices to fall. Whatever anyone says, however big in that industry that person is, whether in housing or housing finance, there is some method in the madness. There is a profit and loss sheet of statement of a developer, and that P&L has shrunk in the last 3-4 years. Margins have fallen to 9 to 15%. There is no wiggle room to reduce prices there. So we do not expect a fall in prices, especially in affordable mid-segment category. Hence, serious customers should take advantage of smaller schemes and close the sale whenever they want to, whenever they need the home. So that's our outlook on prices. Before closing this, I'll just sort of give you guys another perspective of economy, because a lot of people have questions ki economy kya hoga, GDP growth 1.8% ho jayega, will my job be secure or not? And these are real questions, and that could in some way impact your decision to buy homes. So these are this is a perspective of from 1947. There have been 6 instances where the GDP has fallen dramatically over 1 year, or sometimes become negative, guys. So some people are saying कि कभी ऐसा हुआ नहीं है, but in 1962 Pakistan war, GDP growth rate was minus 2.64% that year. It had fallen 10% from the year before. 1972 post Bangladesh war, minus 0.55%. 1979 post emergency, guys, many of you guys were not born at that time. It's minus 5.24%. 1991 economic crisis, remember Manmohan Singh, Narasimha Rao, liberalization, privatization, globalization, 1.06%. Each year, wherever it fell by 5 to 12%. So currently, when people are saying कि GDP growth rate of 2020 might be 1.8%, ये ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि पहले हुआ नहीं है. ये 6 बार हुआ है पहले in the last in post-independence era. And currently, we have got a much stronger economic fabric, superb forex balance situation. We have got only 150 million people in poverty out of 1.3 billion, which is just about 10 to 12%. At that time, we had 50 to 75% of India which was poor. So we are in a very strong position with a 1.8% GDP growth rate. ऐसा कुछ नहीं कि पहाड़ गिरने वाला है. While we should be prepared for the worst, you should not really build sort of super pessimistic scenarios which will take you in the wrong direction. Is a rough sort of data point that I wanted to give, because at the end of it, home buying is for 10 to 20 years. So don't let what is happening in 10 to 20 days impact that decision of long term. So because home is where the heart is, and this was said by some philosopher Pliny Jr. Almost 2000 years back. It takes hands to build a house, but only hearts can build a home. Home is just not an economic investment. Home is a quasi-emotional or fully emotional investment. If you need a home, you want a home, you have to buy a home. So that's what I would like to end this presentation with, and hand it back to Varun to handle any questions which have come to him.
Thanks Sunil and Amit for the...
Varun, sorry, I think we have got a list of all the participants already, which Vinod has put on a slide, and these are people who have pre-registered. Thanks a lot, guys. You can see your names there on the slide, and it is home buyers and real estate professionals like you which make this industry and keeps on going back as to create trust and respect for each one of you as a buyer and each one of you as a peer. Thanks a lot, Varun.
Thanks Sunil, thanks Amit for throwing light on the session. Frankly, we have about 18 questions which have come in. So we will just, given the time we have, we'll just go through them in the order they have come in, and depending on time we can then stop accordingly.
And we'll respond to all the rest on email over the next 3 days.
Yes.
All right now.
So Sunil, the first question actually for Sunil and Amit is, do you see a delay in possession of under construction homes because of COVID-19?
I'll take that question, Sunil, with your permission.
Yeah, please.
Uh, Varun, we know that there has been a lockdown since March 24th, and construction activities should have started as of yesterday, which is 20th of April. And I can speak from Gurgaon's perspective, where I operate, that Haryana has already given permission to Gurgaon and Faridabad to start the construction activities as long as it's not lying in the containment zone. Because we also need to engage and keep the workers engaged on those construction sites. But however, there are some cities like Pune and Bombay where largely this is not allowed till 3rd of May. Even in NCR, Ghaziabad and Noida, they haven't been allowed to do anything till 3rd of May. So there could be some delay, and we understand this. However, RERA has already taken cognizance of the same, and they have extended the completion deadline by 3 months. So we should be aware, however, that the clock is ticking for most of the developers, and developers have taken loan, and they try their best to complete the project as soon as possible and get the collateral back. We also know as real estate professionals, so there are some buffers also built in the project from the completion date, so as to ensure that there is no default on those dates. Personally, I think that we should not have any challenge on that count, but there could be some delay here and there, but largely by a month or two or such.
Okay. Thanks, Amit. The second question is, in the current circumstances, is it better to buy a ready-to-move-in house or an under construction property?
Sunil, I will, and I will just also, before I answer this question, I will also like to take our entire group, all participants, to the slide presentation on the entire transitioning of the entire sales process from physical world to the virtual world at present. And you will remember that I had spoken about two keywords: know your customer and customer need analysis. See, which we do as part of our entire sales process. See, the answer to your question, Varun, is that the question which we ask our customer: what do you exactly need? There cannot be a one size fits all answer to this question. So every consumer has his own stage in his own life cycle, and everybody has different cash flow requirements for the next 2-3 years, and everybody would be in a different stage. So a consumer who would be around 28-30 years may want to get into a launch product. Consumers in their early 40s or late 30s may want to get into a sustenance or RTMI. So we need to understand what is the exact requirement. So if your children's admission or school is nearby, if you want to stay close to your office and you want to invest there, then for a consumer, they may want to get into RTMI, ready to move in product, because they would have known exactly what they want to get into. So what do we do in respect? Our team conducts a thorough, detailed know your customer in the first meeting. Now we have transitioned this to a call and a Zoom call, and find what exactly a customer requires and what are his exact requirements. We don't believe in any product down the throat of a customer. We need to know the exact requirement of the customer and create a bouquet or suite of products which will match to the requirement of the customer. So, but if your question pertain to the risk of completion in under construction, then those risks remain the same as before, or is depending on the cash flow situation of the developer. And that is why we highly recommend that one should stick only to the large and well-known brands in such situations if clarity emerges.
Okay, thanks, Amit. The next question is, how comfortable do you think consumers will be to buy a house online?
Once again, I know I will go back to the presentation which I had. The first slide which I showed to the group was the profound consumer behavior which have come up in the last 20 years. Before I go back to answer your question, Varun, I just want to remind the group that when Jeff Bezos was building an online bookstore in 1997, remember 1997, internet was not yet rolled out in India to that extent. It used to be in offices and colleges as a big box. It used to lie in the computer rooms. People thought that guy has gone crazy. When we heard people buying clothes online 10 years ago, we rolled opened our eyes and we saw that what's happening. Today, however, online e-commerce is a reality. People are buying things from a pin to a motorbike, everything online. And there are no qualms about this. Homes are, of course, the larger investment that a middle class Indian will be doing and may need more research. However, with 75% of the properties being sold in the newly launched or just starting to get constructed category, there is not much of a home to see on the physical side. So what does a customer see on the physical side, other than cement, balu, gitti? He doesn't see anything. So if a high, and hence a high quality virtual simulation will give a better idea than what is actually it is going to be. Even a consumer, when he's going to purchase a launch or a new launch or ready to get constructed property at the site of a developer, he also goes through those simulations and videos which the developer would have prepared for him. Thankfully, as we speak, and as we know that after RERA, these videos or whatever is being depicted to a customer cannot make any false claims. So whatever will be shown to a consumer is what he will ultimately get, and no developer can fool around with creating false images or false videos about any such thing. So it's absolutely safe for any consumer to go through a high quality virtual simulation to get a complete idea instead of going to the site, a drone video of the locality, a 3D project tour, 3D floor plan, and finally the apartment walkthrough to get a better idea. So, there isn't a right or wrong time. Once, as we say, that real estate is not something that you will wait and invest. You should invest and wait. So if you are able to figure out the right product, if you can afford it, just go and purchase it. So there's no point waiting for for this thing.
Thanks, Amit. The next question is it a right time to buy a home as an investment right now, or should one look at another asset class?
Amit, should I take this one?
Yeah, please, Sunil.
Again, the answer goes back to what Amit had mentioned about the KYC, right? The know your customer. And since unfortunately I have been a boring CEO of a wealth management company for 6 years in the past, Karvy Private Wealth, and always it depends upon your asset allocation, Mr. XYZ. Which means for young Indians in the 25 to 55 years age category, I always recommend a rough 40, 40, 15, 5 without knowing you too much. 40% in equities, 40% in real estate, 15% in debt, and 5% in gold. And this investable surplus, of course, excludes your primary residence, your home. Subtract करके जो बचता पैसा, that उसका मैं ratio बता रहा हूँ. And if you are satisfied that you want to increase your real estate part of asset allocation, then a small home or a commercial unit, which could be a small office or shop, would be a smart investment idea currently. Home prices have not increased in the past 4 to 5 years, as I mentioned on the slide. In fact, they have reduced by 20% in this period after inflation. COVID has driven home the point of stay at home, work from home. Hence, importance of homes has got developed. Prices should start rising secularly by end of 2020 if things start coming back to normal and slightly faster by 2021. Remember RERA, DEMO, GST, they had already set up a stable phase for us. And there are 6 continuous quarters of 70 to 75,000 homes being sold, which is 3 lakh ka annualized rate chal raha tha. And that is the sort of era which post-COVID we may come back to very soon by 2021. So the price will start increasing and it will become a good investment asset class to buy. So the answer is yes. If your asset allocation allows, it's a smart idea to buy. If it's a smart product from a smart developer.
Thanks, Sunil. The next question is it a good time to invest in a commercial property? And if yes, why?
Yeah, so see again, continuing from the first question, first answer rather, if you already have a second home as an investment product, then I would sort of encourage you to be more adventurous and look out for a commercial unit, which could be a small shop or a home, to diversify your real estate piece of the asset allocation as well. A commercial product gives 8 to 10% return per annum, and there could be some capital appreciation as well. But historically, the capital appreciation plus the 2 to 3% rental return from homes has actually outpaced the returns from commercial. And that's why residential real estate is 70 to 80% of the entire market. It is the last 4 years which was a bit sort of a special, the 2016 to 20, as I mentioned. But in the 2003 to 2008, there was a 200% rise, which was 25% sort of return. Forgetting both these, the huge positive bull run or the bear run of 2016-20. If you look at 15 to 20 years, investment in residential assets have given a 12 to 15% per annum. तो ऐसा मत सोचो कि आपको 50% कुछ मिलने वाला है. But over a 10 to 15 years perspective, you'll get 12 to 15%, which sort of quite coincidentally is the same return as equity market gives, minus the volatility, the hard burn, and the screaming CNBC TV 18 reporters whom you have to tolerate to reach the equity market. So that's what I would say about the real estate investment.
Great, thanks. The next question is, what is the impact of COVID-19 on the real estate industry and how long will it last?
Should I carry on, Amit?
Yeah, please, Sunil, go ahead.
I seem to be in a bit of a role. So I'm not too much of a subscriber here to this prophet of doom story. And I'm not such a big visionary. And I'm almost talking for our leadership team to be able to say कि जो Spanish flu में 100 साल पहले हुआ था, 3 साल चला था Spanish flu, which is true from January 2018 to December 2020. So अब COVID में भी यही होने वाला है. I don't know. As a world, we have only 500 million poor people out of 7.2 billion. At that time, about 70 to 80% people are poor by sort of a comparative sort of standards by reducing your base to 1918. So we have got superb access to science and technology today. In 90% of the world is sort of has the means to go to a hospital. But still, if you force me to do a bit of prediction and crystal ball gazing, I'm seeing April, May, June, and specifically with home buying in perspective. I'm seeing April, May, June, there'll be a sort of a slowdown in buying homes because only people who want to buy under construction homes will be able to buy it through the integrated digital sales solution or integrated digital home buying solution that Amit spoke about. So May and June may see some sort of a voluntary lockdown. We have seen that happen in Wuhan and Austria. People may not like to come out. So the digital way of selling will continue. In Q2, which is July to September, I'm seeing about 50% of it. So Q1, clearly 90% of sales are going to happen digitally. In Q2, I'm seeing 50% of sales still happening digitally because people may still not come out. Q3 onwards, which is January 2021, which is October 2020 onwards, I see the new normal. And I don't like using these hackneyed phrases of new normal. But for real estate buying, about 25% of homes will still be sold online for years to come. This is what Amit was talking about, Jeff Bezos, se leke apparel, se leke homes. So because there is so much convenience, right? For under construction, for NRIs, for people living in Delhi, buying in Bombay, and for people staying here who don't want to go to a site because there's nothing on that site right now. So the way things will change is that 25% of homes will continue to be sold online. I'm not saying 100% of homes being sold online after 6-7 months when everything is normal, but 25% is a big number. Today, only 1 to 2% homes are being sold online. So that's what I see shipping out in the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Post that, hopefully, we all should be sort of back to normal and happy. But the digital piece is going to remain to a significant portion of home sales.
Thanks, Sunil, for the insight. The next question is, which segment would be the most affected? Will it be affordable, mid-size, luxury, or super luxury in terms of sales?
I can take this question.
Amit, yeah, please.
So, Varun, it's no secret that that the demand for luxury and super luxury apartments are well beyond the peak for some time now. Especially in the last 15 or 18 years, how the real estate transactions or the buyer behaviors have changed, in some way, in some perspective, that most of the transactions happening at this point of times, and also taking you from what Sunil had suggested in his presentation, revolve. So all the speculators or investors are out of the window, and these people stick around on the luxury and super luxury product, and this will obviously get impacted. However, affordable and mid-size are what 95 to 98% of the people need, and 95% of the consumers at this point of time are moving in the price bracket of 75 lakhs to 90 lakhs and below. And this is the bracket which is being largely used by this segment, because most of these segments or most of these buyers are also first time users. They have joined the workforce 5 to 10 years ago, and for them real estate is not investment. It's like roti. When we say roti kapda makan, it is that important makan and that element for their life and livelihood. It's important for them to have a home, have a house on the head. As per a McKinsey study, we know that 5 million migrants, Sunil suggested this, are pouring year on year to the top 10 cities, which makes it 50 lakhs, and 2.5 lakhs home each year. So the demand for right size home is going to be humongous. We may see some disruptions here and there, but we also believe that the way we trade, the way we purchase clothes is the same way. We will also see a lot of transformation happening on the real estate space from the physical world to the virtual space, and this is going to pick on from here on. So the demand for the right size home is humongous, and it will continue to have.
Great. If okay with you, we'll take one last question, and then we'll respond to the other participants who individually. So the next question is that why should people buy a property during the lockdown or quarantine period and not wait for later?
See, as I said earlier also, quarantine or no quarantine, real estate is not a flimsy product which one may think to buy so it's a very complicated transaction. It's more of an emotional purchase, especially for the segment that we sell and for the segment which is really buying out in the market. It's, and that decision is not taken overnight. It's a decision which the entire family takes, and they go through phases. So one goes through the phases of search and discovery to shortlisting, and then understanding the finances, and then making the transaction. See, this is the best time to purchase real estate, as also we have seen what we have delivered in the last 1 month, and also got made available to the market through Anuj Puri's press release. Because during such period, one may expect to get the best deals in the market. So, if you have the finances available with you, and you have been able to figure out what you need to buy, the right time, come out of the market and take the best bet, and do a strong negotiation. And I'm sure that such consumers will get the best deals available in the market.
Great, Amit. To add to that, in the article that you mentioned, where our Anurag group has, which includes Prospect, has sold about 240 homes and 60 commercial units. Almost 70 to 74% have been sold in Mumbai and Pune. So for this relevant audience, I think that's pretty heartening news.
Great, thank you so much. So dear participants, basically due to paucity of time, we will have to stop the webinar here. But for the questions which have remained unanswered, we will get in touch with you and get back to you with the our views and our answers to your questions shortly. So thanks everyone. Thank you everyone for taking time out to attend this webinar today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.